What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the world according to Briggs. Have you ever lost your keys, your shoes, your mind, your self-control, or your ability to write a decent transition that actually makes sense? Some states in this country are actually losing residents. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, most states in this country are gaining people, while a handful are losing residents. When I say losing, I mean the amount of people moving out of the state is higher than the amount of people moving into the state. So why would a state's population be on the decline? Well, there's many reasons. Americans have been leaving their home states in search of newer opportunities, lower taxes, better real estate markets, a better environment. The list goes on and on, but there's a few that are more common than others. Today's list goes off the U.S. Census Bureau's report for 2019. And before we get rolling, if you for some reason think that a state is missing from this list that it should have been on because you know a bunch of people that are leaving and they're losing all kinds of people, well, they probably are losing a whole bunch of people. They just happen to have a few more extra people moving in, so they never went in the negative, therefore they didn't make the list. In this list, you'll get the number of residents each state lost on the list, and the list is ranked by the percentage of the population that declined. Alright, so let's see what state is chasing its residents away in part 1. Number 10, New Jersey. The state is named after the island of Jersey in the English Channel, and it's also home to Tony Soprano. New Jersey was among the 13 original colonies and was the third state to ratify the Constitution. The Garden State joined the Union in December of 1787. Side note, bring up Tony Soprano to a New Jersey resident and sort of act like they're a real person, then you get to sit back and watch them totally lose it. That's like a pet peeve of a lot of New Jersey residents, acting like Tony Soprano is all the state is all about. It's actually kind of funny. The Garden State has seen some good times. It was a very important manufacturing center during the Industrial Revolution and both World Wars. Manufacturing has left New Jersey for the most part, but these days they boast having more than 5,000 tech companies, including Core Software and Verizon. Pharmaceutical and biotech companies are also big in New Jersey right now. This has led to an influx of a younger, more educated workforce, which leads to other groups being left behind. Of those leaving the Garden State, about 73% cited retirement or employment as the reason they were leaving. When surveyed, almost 50% of the residents said they have considered leaving New Jersey. Other things listed were cold weather, environment, housing costs, high taxes, an unfriendly business climate, and the state sucks. Those were all things that were listed. With a population of nearly 8.9 million people, the loss of nearly 4,000 really is just a drop in the bucket. It's not hardly anything, but they are one of the first states that are losing people. The percentage of population lost was 0.04%. Like I said, not many. Number 9, Vermont. We just talked about the Green Mountain State in our last video. That video was about states that don't get many visitors. Not a lot of tourism dollars come into Vermont. I don't know why. They have great skiing and a lot of other things, but not a lot of people show up. Now Vermont is on this list. People don't like to visit, and it appears the locals don't either. A few studies in the last decade have all pointed to one main reason for this outflow of longtime residents. The study found that middle and low income people continue to leave the state because of the high cost of living. That's pretty much it. They had a few other smaller reasons, it's just the high cost of living is chasing people out of Vermont. Vermont has a very high cost of living, and if people can't survive, they find a place they can. Vermont also sees a lot of their retirees leaving for warmer and cheaper states. Winter can be cruel to old bones. If you don't get that now, you will about the time your kids get into high school or thereabouts. Trust me. I suffer through cold weather. As the cost of living in Vermont continues to be higher than other states across the country, they're going to continue to lose people. Now here's where that more people are leaving than arriving comes into play. In 2018, Vermont was ranked as one of the most moved to states in the country, and in another poll, it was ranked as the best state to live in, so a lot of new people are coming in. They do get a lot of things right in this state. They just have an older than average age resident and that very high cost of living. People can't do it. So yeah, it's a really nice place to move if you got a good job and some good money. In the past 10 years, Vermont's population has declined 4 times. Vermont has a population of 624,000 residents. That's it. They don't even crack 1 million, but they lost around 400 people in 2018 and about the same in 2019. The percent of the population lost, 0.06. Not a lot, but it's still on the list. Number 8, Mississippi. So, it's Mississippi, and of course, people are leaving. This state borders on ridiculous, it's so bad. According to the new estimates from the U.S. Census Bureau, this state is losing more and more residents every single year. This is a continuing trend. That trend is showing more Mississippi residents are leaving because of the lack of good employment and poverty. The cost of living isn't crazy in Mississippi compared to the rest of the country. It's just most of the residents don't make squat at the jobs they do have. Most of the time when a state is gaining population, a majority of that growth is in its major cities. Mississippi has some cities, but none of them qualify as major. Jackson, Meridian, Hattiesburg, they're not that big. They're not going to be drawing in a younger crowd like millennials and below. We're talking about a state that's top industries are farming and forestry. Mississippi produces more than half the country's farm-raised catfish, and it also is a top producer of sweet potatoes, cotton, and pulpwood. These aren't high-paying jobs. They're good jobs, and we need them. They're just not high-paying jobs. The poverty thing isn't new to Mississippi. It's been broke since forever. So why all of a sudden did people finally start leaving? There could be a lot of reasons, but one stuck out to me. The state sucks in a lot of different ways. Education is not one of them. In the last decade, the Magnolia State has made great leaps in education. More people are going to college, and when they get out, the high-paying jobs aren't in the state. So they leave. Or maybe as people get more education, they realize this state really blows, and that makes them leave. Magnolia State is one of only 2 southern states losing residents. Mississippi's population declined the second year in a row, and it declined 4 other times in the past 10 years. In 2018, they lost just about 5,000 residents. This is a state that only has a population of 2.9 million people, so the percent of population lost was 0.16%. Number 7, Connecticut. Connecticut is a strange state, at least the way I see it. My long-distance relationship with the Nutmeg State started when I was around 6 or 7 and learning how to spell the states. To this day, I struggle not to call it Connecticut. I swear, every time I look at it, that's what I see. As I learn more about the state, I learn it has a handful of the wealthiest towns in the country and a whole bunch of extremely poor towns. Most of the states have a ratio something like this: 10% wealthy towns or neighborhoods, 60% middle class, and 30% poor. Connecticut is like 10% wealthy, 30% middle class, and everyone else is on public assistance, it seems. So it's no wonder people are flooding out of the state. In Connecticut, residents most often come to the state for jobs, and ironically, they leave for jobs too. That's according to the 42nd Annual National Movers Study conducted by United Van Lines. After that, it's retirement. This is another state that retirees can't seem to make it in. Connecticut is the 9th most expensive state in the country. They have expensive housing, utilities, and alcohol. The average home price in Connecticut is $660,000, and the monthly energy bill is around $215 a month. I got those numbers from the World Population Review. So if you have a problem with those numbers, give them a call. A bottle of white table wine in this state is about double the price you'd see in most other states. Grocery prices are also above average, and just about anything else costs more in Connecticut. I want to tell you, I was cautious about saying anything about wine, because people get a little defensive about wine. It's weird. Wine people are weird. I get unsolicited advice from random strangers if I happen to have a bottle of wine in my shopping cart. They start telling me all about wine. It's like, I didn't ask. I don't know you. Please quit touching my stuff. I just order wine from that empathy.wines.com now. And they're not paying me to say that. It's just good wine and it's easy to get. But yeah, people are flooding out of Connecticut. With a population of under 4 million, they got 3.5 million people living in Connecticut. The percent of the population lost, 0.18%. Number 6. And here's our second southern state on this list. Most southern states are relatively inexpensive places to live, so people are moving in, or at least they have the same amount of people moving in as moving out. Mississippi and Louisiana are bucking that trend. They're relatively inexpensive, but they're still chasing people away like villagers with pitchforks and torches. Louisiana for a long time has been losing its best and its brightest. Like Mississippi, as soon as young adults finish college, they bounce. It's called the brain drain. Texas most often is the destination for these people that have earned their degrees at Louisiana's universities. Texas has major metro areas like Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio that are growing. It's easy for a recent college graduate with a nice shiny degree to be lured away. It's the next state over, so, they're kind of close to home. Poverty is also a big problem in the Pelican State, and that's another major factor for the exodus, along with lack of jobs, which usually goes with poverty. Both white-collar and blue-collar jobs aren't available in Louisiana in a lot of places. Louisiana's population has declined for 3 years in a row. It is one of only 2 states in the South that didn't increase its residents last year. 3 if you count West Virginia. Louisiana only has a population of 4.6 million residents, and they lost 0.23%. Alright, so that is part 1 of states losing population. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you got some information out of it. Don't forget all the links below, and stay tuned for part 2 of this video. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.